Hey guys, my name's Esided, and I mainly post raid guides and tutorials. Since the Teal Mask DLC has been out for the past week or so, I've been trying different mons when raiding, and here are my top 5 best raid builds in the DLC. If you're looking for additional raid builds to farm those herbas for shiny sandwiches, you're in the right place. So let's jump into the list. Number 5, Snorlax. It's no secret that Belly Drum is a goated buffing move in raids. Maxing out your attack in one turn saves so much time when you're trying to finish a raid quickly and efficiently. However, Belly Drum has the one downside that you lose 50% of your HP, but with Snorlax, losing 50% of your HP actually works to your advantage. That's where the ability Gluttony and the Figgy Berry comes into play. Gluttony allows Snorlax to eat its berry sooner than usual. Usually, the Figgy Berry will activate when you're at 25% HP to restore 25% of your HP. But with the combination of Gluttony and Figgy Berry, you'll eat the berry immediately after belly drumming, so you'll be at max attack and only missing 25% of your HP. Let's go into the specifics of the build. You want an adamant nature with max HP and max attack, and the remaining EVs in defense. For moves, you want Belly Drum, obviously. Snorlax gets access to Screech, which sets it apart from the other belly drummers because it can lower the target's defense. You want a normal stab move such as Body Slam, and the last move can be your preference. You can use Recycle to refresh your Figgy Berry for a healing option. Thankfully, Snorlax is so bulky that you'll find that you don't really need a healing move such as like Drain Punch, for example. So Recycle can actually be really good. I think a really fun and unique set with Snorlax could be a Belly Drum plus Last Resorts. Last Resorts is a 140 base power normal type attack that will only work if you've used all of your other moves. So turn 1, Belly Drum, turn 2 and onwards, Last Resorts spam. With a PP max, Last Resorts can only have 8 PP, so you may find yourself running out of attacking moves, and then the raid would be GG, but still a fun potential set regardless. The one downside to Snorlax is that it is a normal type, so it cannot hit any Tera bosses for super effective stab damage. However, that normal typing makes it a great generalist because you can hit the majority of types for neutral damage. Number 4, Drippling. And yes, its name is Drippling. Honestly, this Pokemon isn't the best for raiding, but it has a fun exploit that I wanted to highlight. For some reason, Drippling actually gets the defense buff with Eviolite, which usually only works if Eviolite is on an unevolved Pokemon. And for all that we know so far, Drippling should be fully evolved. So Kieran might have a surprise for us in the Indigo Disk DLC. Drippling has great defenses already, so the fact it can run Eviolite and double those defenses, it can survive so many turns even without a healing item such as a Shell Bell. For ability, you can run Super Sweet Syrup if you're utilizing the Eviolite. For nature, I recommend a Modest Nature with max HP, max special attack, and the remaining in defense. You could run a fully defensive set and a more support-oriented build with max HP and max defenses, but you may not be dealing enough damage to clear the raids. For moves, I recommend its signature move, Syrup Bomb, which will lower the target's speed, which isn't too useful, but you may be surprised how useful allowing your teammates to move first, especially because most people don't invest into their speed on their builds. Pollen Puff can be really useful to heal your teammates, Giga Drain to help your sustainability, and a Dragon Stab move like Dragon Pulse. Number 3, Glisscore. Another Scarlet dub and another Violet L. Don't worry boys, Indigo Disk will be our time. I've been using Glisscore as a physical flying Tera, but it's also a really good physical ground Tera if you don't have access to regular Ursaluna. Also, weird Mandela effect, but I always thought Glisscore was poison ground type. I can't be the only one who thought this, right? Right? Anyways, for Glisscore, I recommend Toxic Orb as your item, which will inflict yourself with poison. But why? Gliscore's ability Poison Heal allows it to be healed instead of take damage from being poisoned, and it'll be healed for 1/8 of its HP each turn. That's twice as much as leftovers. And it prevents you from being statused by something annoying like Sleep, Freeze, or a Burn. For nature, I recommend Adamant Nature with max HP to maximize your Poison Heal healing, max attack, and the remaining in defense. For moves, I recommend Swords Dance, Screech, Earthquake, and a flying stab move, which could be Dual Wing Beat or Aerial Ace, whichever you prefer. Another positive for Glisscore is that it can buff its own attack stat with Swords Dance and lower the target's defense stat with Screech. Number 2, Alola Ninetales. To preface this, Alola Ninetales is not catchable in the DLC, but regular Ninetales is. So you can transfer Alola Ninetales via Pokemon Home. So with that in mind, I don't want to rank Alola Ninetales first due to its availability, but honestly, it may be the best new raider in the DLC. Let's dive into why. For item, you want Shell Bell for the sustainability. For ability, you want its hidden ability, Snow Warning, because during snow, you and any ice types, your physical defenses will be doubled, which will allow you to use Aurora Veil on turn 1, which is a reflect and a light screen in one move, with the caveat that it only works during snow. So the combination of Snow Warning plus Aurora Veil is really good. For nature, I recommend Modest with max HP, max special attack, and the remaining in speed. For the remaining moves, Alola Ninetales can buff its own special attack with Nasty Plot and lower the target's special defense with Fake Tears. For the last move, you have a bunch of options. But personally, I really like Freeze Dry because it has enough PP to finish a raid, and it's a super effective option against water-type Teras. You could utilize Blizzard spam in snow, but it's only 100% accurate during snow, so when your snow fades, you'll be having fun with that 70% accurate move. And as we all know, if a move isn't 100% accurate, it's 50% accurate in Pokemon. But wait, there's more. Alola Ninetales can also be built as a really good support option. This time, I recommend the item Light Clay, so your Aurora Veil lasts for 8 turns rather than the standard 5 turns. Alola Ninetales can lower the target's special defense with Fake Tears, lessen the damage you and your teammates take with the combination of Aurora Veil plus Chilling Water, and you can use Draining Kiss as your damaging move, which is a special fairy type Giga Drain, but you recover 50% of the damage you deal, which really keeps you healthy. So for both of those reasons, that's why I think Alola Ninetales might actually deserve number 1 on this list. It can be built in multiple different ways and be really effective in the multiple roles it can fill. Alright, before we jump into the number 1, I do want to address my thumbnail with Basculegion being F tier. I will say it's not exactly F tier per se, but it is really underwhelming. I was super excited for Adaptability Basculegion, but its moveset somewhat holds it back. For one, there are no good physical ghost type attacks in this game. Basculegion can use Phantom Force or Last Respects. Phantom Force is a 2-turn attack, so you waste a lot of time using that move, and Last Respects does not get its fallen party member buff because when your teammates faint, technically they're not your party members, so it's a weak 50 base power ghost attack. Also, Basculegion gets access to very limited utility, it can't buff its own offenses, and it cannot debuff the target's defenses. And lastly, Basculegion is a water ghost type, so honestly, you might as well use a Azumarill as your water type or Annihilate as your ghost type. With all that said, I do think Basculegion has a unique niche, and I have a build for you if you're adamant about using Basculegion, and I don't blame you because this Pokemon's awesome. Specifically, I recommend the male Basculegion because it has a higher physical attack stat than its female counterpart. For item, I recommend Choice Band. Because Basculegion doesn't have any good utility, you can use the Choice Band item to buff your own offenses. Keep in mind with the Choice Band item, you are locked into the same move until you faint. But some fun tech is that you can still cheer. So a Choice Band plus an attack cheer works somewhat well. For moves, I recommend Liquidation as your go-to move. Liquidation is a strong physical water attack that has a chance to lower the target's defenses, which comes in handy when it procs. Wave Crash for a really strong water move, but be careful locking yourself into Wave Crash because you will take a bunch of recoil and potentially KO yourself. Phantom Force for your ghost type coverage, and the last move can be whatever. Psychic Fangs, Crunch, etc. Basculegion gets one potential buffing move with Rain Dance, which will double your water attacks in rain. But please do not use Rain Dance with Choice Band because you will be locked into Rain Dance for the entire raid or until you faint. Now, the niche I was talking about earlier. So there's the 6-star Poliwrath, and it's one of the best raids you can farm because it drops all of the Herba Mysticas, which can be really helpful when you're making those shiny sandwiches. I go into all the details about Herba drop rates in this video, so if you want to learn more about the Herba drop rates in the DLC, I recommend watching this video on screen here. So Poliwrath really loves using the move Haze, which removes everyone's stat changes. so it is impossible to set up with a mon against Poliwrath, unless you use Taunt. And if it's a Swift Swim Poliwrath, it likes to set up Rain Dance, which you'll use to buff your own damage. And on top of all of that, Basculegion walls Poliwrath pretty well with its Water Ghost dual typing. So even though Basculegion isn't as great as I want it to be, I have been using it a lot when farming 6-star Poliwraths. And number 1, Sinistcha. When Poltergeist was initially revealed, I didn't think it would be viable in a raid environment, but here we are now, and I'm ranking it number 1. How the tables have turned, or the Matcha Bowl? Okay, that was bad. Anyways, why is this Pokemon actually so good for raiding? For the ability, I recommend Heat Proof to lessen the amount of damage you take from fire-type attacks, but Hospitality could also be used. The problem with Hospitality is that you have to faint for the ability to take into effect, and fainting is the worst thing you can do in a raid. For nature, I recommend Modest with max HP, max special attack, and the remaining in defense. For moves, I recommend Matcha Gotcha. This signature move is what makes this mon so good. It's a Giga Drain plus Scald in one move. You replenish 50% of the damage you deal, so for the most part, you'll be healing up to full with every use. And with the item Big Root, you'll be regaining additional HP when using a move such as Matcha Gotcha. To round out its moveset, I recommend Nasty Plot to buff your damage, Shadow Ball for stab ghost type coverage, and the last move is pretty versatile. Personally, I run Reflect, but you could use that, or Life Dew, or Giga Drain, or even Scald, or something else that may catch your eye in its moveset. So, how'd I do? Were there any Pokemon you think I should have highlighted and I didn't? Who from the DLC have you been using to farm the 5 and 6 star raids in the DLC? Let me know in the comments. And don't worry, there are many other Pokemon from the DLC that I want to highlight raid builds for. So if you're interested in that, give me a subscribe so you'll be notified when those videos go live. If you're still here at the end of the video and you liked any of the builds, give the video a like. It really helps me in the YouTube algorithm and I greatly appreciate it. Well, until next time, see you.